So you want to know where I get all of my information on these polluted sites. Well, first I get a lot of it from word of mouth. See, I do a lot of traveling. I get around more than a venereal disease on a college campus. The rest of it I use various municipalities if they're straightforward and honest, but not all of them are, and I'm going to show you that in this video. The best one I can find for the state of Florida is the Florida Department of Environmental Protection's website. I think it's .org, it's fdep.org.com, something like that. Just typing it on Google. The easiest way to find current and former landfills in the state of Florida is to type just that into your search bar and then go to the first thing that pulls up on FDEP website. Because when you go to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection's website and you start looking for current and historic landfills, it's not an easy tab to find. I actually had to go to Google and figure it out myself. But let's take a look at how and what the state of Florida looks like and where all of these sites are at. Okay, so just like I said, I'm going to come over here to Google, type in current and former landfills in the state of Florida map, and then hit enter, then come over here to the first spot that pulls up from FDEP's website, and then we click on that and it'll load in our map, and boom, look at that. All these landfills got the state of Florida looking like it's got chicken pox. That's how many sites there are. So we'll click on a few spots down here in the Keys. Out here, there's one in the middle of the ocean randomly, and then I'm going to take you over here to the one that I know. It's going to take me a second to find it because I'm looking for that particular reservoir that is polluted or what have you. And this is where I'm going to show you the lie of Hillsborough County. Now, as I click over here, this one right here is on the Superfunds list from the federal EPA. It's called the Sydney Sludge Pond, and it's right across the street from the Pleasant Grove landfill. Okay, now we're going to come over here to the Hillsborough Environmental Protection Commission's website of historic landfills. And we're going to see that it's not on there. And that's not by mistake, because they're trying to develop this Superfund site. And I even called the Environmental of Protection of Hillsborough County and said, hey, why isn't this Superfund site there? And the lady said, well, if it's on the federal EPA's website, that's probably good enough. Well, no, ma'am, it's not good enough, because if a future home buyer, or potential home buyer rather, is thinking about buying a house here in Hillsborough County on this polluted site, does their research, and then finds out you lied to them, how's that going to look on you, Hillsborough County EPC? For those of you that are thinking about buying a house in Florida or just moving from one place to the other in Florida, here's why it's important to know how to do your research in Florida.
Developers team has their plans on display. They're trying to answer everyone's questions, get neighbors on board with their plans. But I've been speaking with many neighbors all day who tell me they should not expect any of their support.
The entire community is overwhelmingly against it.
A battle over what to do with nearly 3,000 acres of dense, brush-filled land, formerly a phosphate mine and waste dumping ground. Now, two proposals are going before county commissioners. The first to allow one developer to build commercial and retail space, a second to allow another developer to put housing here, up to 1,900 units.
So it was a dumping ground in the 70s. They dumped approximately 18 million gallons of oil here. Hillsborough County did. They leased the land from American Cyanamide Company and used it as an oil waste dumping facility. And then it was a phosphate mine from 1930 to 1950. And it's unreclaimed. It's never seen reclamation. And when I asked the developers, hey, are you going to give potential new residents a warning or a disclosure about the pollution and the former uses of this property? And they said no. And I said, how can you do that? When you buy a pack of cancer sticks or a can of mouth cancer, you get a warning that says you're going to get sick. But if I buy a $300,000 house or a $600,000 house in your community, I get no disclosure. How could you do that? And they said, we don't have to. The state doesn't require us, so we're not going to. So for any potential residents of Dover Farms Energy Industrial Complex, which they don't have to build anymore, by the way, here is your disclosure, since they tried not to give you one. I'm Matt the Welder. God bless America, FJB, and I really miss Jimmy Dean, the singer, not the sausage.